We all have bad habits that we've been wanting to break for some time. But how do we go about breaking these habits that may be so ingrained in our day-to-day existence? Well, today I'm going to help you to understand why we have these habits, how they form from the beginning. So once we understand them a little bit better, then we can work on the steps to break those habits and replace them with really healthy, good new ones. This is the Coach That Cares, Laura Graziano, and creator of Personal Best Coaching and programs to help you be the best you in life, business, and anything that you want to do, just to be better day to day. So let's get started. So let's go into the understanding of how we form these habits and why. You know, every habit is created through a need, and usually it comes down to our very basic need. You know, a lot of these habits that you formed, they're not your fault. Like in my last video, we discussed how to let go of negative thoughts, and we went into some of the primitive science of why we have negative thoughts. And today we're going back to that primitive part of ourselves that is just instinctual, that we have built into us, that need to survive, that need to find abundant food and shelter and safety to protect us so that we can survive and thrive. So that is our basic need. And that's what governs everything that we do. And it still governs that today, even though we're not living in a world where we're chased by predators and a lot of us have an easier time finding food. We can go to supermarkets and all that, so we don't have to worry as much about those basic needs, but those instinctual things are still built into us, and they create the habits that we have today. So now that we understand a little bit about them, also I'd like you to think about, if we take it back to the days of cavemen, cavewomen, if you found a food source that was easy enough, even picking berries or where it was abundant, you would go back to that same food source again and again and again. And as long as it was safe and you weren't chased away by a predator, you would continue to revisit that food source because it was easy and abundant for you. So it's the same in our day-to-day habits now. We get comfortable and we do what's easier, and it's our own body's way of preserving our own energy by doing less to still receive the benefits that we need. So everything starts with a need, and then the need leads to a behavior, and we have either a positive or a negative outcome. When we have a positive outcome, then we want to repeat that same behavior, and it often turns into a habit for us. So that's the process, and it becomes, honestly, the habits, they become automatic. And sometimes, even when the need is not as great, we still repeat these habits because we've become so ingrained in doing them every day, day in, day out. And it becomes harder to break them. So we do have to break that cycle. So how do we go about doing that? This is where we get to the 3 steps that really can help you finally break that nasty habit and replace it with something that you're much more is going to be healthier and bring you to a happier place in life. So the first step is bringing in mindfulness. I think you've known, if you've listened to any of my other videos, I'm a big proponent of mindfulness, because when we become conscious and aware of things, then we're able to change things. So first of all, let us become mindful of the habit that we want to break. But in order to really want to break that, we have to be motivated by a different result, a different reward, or a different positive reinforcement. So I'll use an example of myself. I hate to admit it, but I have been a nail biter for most of my life. It started when I was a young child, and probably it was a security issue. I, didn't have the easiest childhood growing up, and I think it became a little bit of a comfort for me. And, have I continued that throughout my life, on and off? Yes. And I notice I did stop, like for my wedding, I had beautiful nails and I was very happy about that. And I noticed with the pandemic that I've gone back to more of the nail biting because I don't have people seeing me as much, and I'm home, and sometimes I might be, thinking, a little insecure about life in general and health and all of that. So I've gone back to that nail biting a bit. So that's my goal, is I really want to stop that. So what would be my new motivating factor is that things are starting to open up now, and we're going to be socializing more. And honestly, I'm embarrassed to have people see my hands look like this. So that's my motivation now, and that will be my reward, and where I set my vision, that's going to be the motivating force that's going to help me break this habit. So I have to be mindful of that all the time, because this is something that is just natural for me, that I go to put, the nail in my mouth or whatever. So I have to realize that the reward that I'm shooting for is stronger than that habit, and I have to be mindful of that. So the best thing I can do is start by writing down and making a commitment to myself, the habit that I want to break. I want to stop biting my nails. And what's my vision? My vision is that in a month or so, that my nails will be looking a lot better. And when I start to socialize and the weather is changing, when I'm getting out there and seeing friends and family and business associates, I want to feel proud of my hands and I want to look good. So that's my goal, and I'm keeping that vision set for myself so that it continues to motivate me. And I'll use visualization. I'll actually see myself with these beautiful nails, and maybe I'll have a really pretty spring nail color that I'll want to use to make them look even lovelier. So I'm going to have that vision set for myself and keep that as my motivation. Sometimes vision boards are also useful for that, so you can picture your vision coming true. So that's the first step. Be motivated by that new reward that you see for yourself, so that you'll want to drop that old habit, and write it down. Commit to yourself, I'm going to stop biting my nails starting today, so that I will be proud of my hands in a month when I'm out there socializing. Now the second step, all right, what happens when the habit surfaces and I go to put my hands in my mouth, and that little security, that initial need for that security that started in my childhood surfaces, and I need something now to replace that. So I need to switch it up with a new habit that's going to replace that bad old one. So what can I do to make myself feel maybe a little bit more secure and something to keep my hands busy? So I found this stress ball. It's kind of cute and makes me smile. And I thought, as long as I'm not out in public, I can keep this handy, and I can use the stress ball that will keep my hands busy, and I won't be tempted to put my hands in my mouth. Another thing that, I can do, what if I'm in a place where I can't use the stress ball and I'm tempted to bite my nails? So I'll just take a few deep breaths to relax myself and maybe get rid of some of that nervous tension that leads me to bite the nails. So take a few deep breaths. And then while I'm taking those deep breaths, I can also pull up that visualization of myself maybe being dressed to go out and socialize, and I have that beautiful nail color on my hands, and I just feel smashing and great. So that I'm going to keep in my mind, because that's going to propel me to break this habit. So now I've replaced that habit with some good ones, with my deep breaths, with my stress ball. So every time that habit, that old habit resurfaces, I'm mindful of my visualization, my motivation, and I have some tools in my toolbox to replace that. And now the last step in this process is we don't exist on a planet out there by ourselves. We're here with people to help us. So find a habit buddy. Find somebody that really wants to help you break this habit. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a coach. But find someone that's going to be there to support you in breaking this and to motivate you when you lose that motivation yourself. And you know what? We all have times where we slide back. I might start biting them again a little bit, but then, you know, my habit buddy will be the one to remind you, remember, you really want to look good. Maybe you have an event that is going to be that, you know, that time-based thing is very important. So set a timeline for yourself. Maybe it's a particular event that you're planning on attending when things open up that you just want to look good for. So I hope I gave you some tools today. You know, remember, it's not your fault that you have these bad habits, because it's just part of our chemical makeup as humans. It's natural. So we fall into the habits, but you can break them by being mindful, set your new motivation, and have that vision for yourself to propel you forward. And when you go to repeat this bad habits, have those tools in your toolbox so that you can rely on them and get yourself a buddy to keep spurring you on. And if you liked this message today, you found it inspiring, please like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so that you'll continue to get notices every time I have a new video. I appreciate your being here today, and I can't wait to see where some of these new habits take you. Have a great day. Take care.